Well, good afternoon. My name is Reverend Dr. Victor McCullough. I am serving as the superintendent of the Heartland District of the United Methodist Church here in Oklahoma. Well, we are facing some issues today that I can't say are altogether new, but it's almost like next chapter that has begun. We're seeing some dynamics at this time that are exasperated, by the occurrences of things like issues with the death of Tamir Rice, the death of Ahmaud Arbery, the death of Breonna Taylor, the death of George Floyd. So what I'm seeing is, a different type of consciousness and a different type of response in my lifetime even. I have been involved in some, protests, and I've been involved in some marches and things of that nature. And it's been good. And I can't say that it's been monolithic or monoethnic. There have been sprinklings of people of different cultures and backgrounds that have been a part of it, of course. There have been some expressions of ecumenism with many denominations coming together. But what I'm seeing right now is so phenomenal is that all of that is happening. We find a movement in response to racial injustice and police brutality and different systematic injustices that have awakened the consciousness of not just the African American community or black and brown communities, but communities that are broad, made up of different ethnicities, different cultures, different faith communities and expressions, as well as communities not only here that are located in the United States, but cultures and places all over the world. And that's phenomenal. I think one of the clear things that has to happen is that the church needs to really be engaged and realize that this is something that is not primarily just a social issue. This is not something that is primarily a political issue, but the issues that we're facing that are pertaining to race, these are issues that for people of faith, they're at the heart of our understanding of who we are as folk who are made and created by God and folk who belong to God. Racism at its core is an attack and a violation of what God intends to be. So when that question is asked of me, what should the church do? I think we should be who we are as kingdom people who from the beginning of time, even, I think you can look at various scriptures from both the Old and the New Testament that hint at the fact that God is not a God that is just limited to one particular culture, to one particular ethnicity, to one particular people group. God has chosen to work through various people at various times, but I think our heritage is one in which we are all created in the image of God and in God's likeness. And as a result, God's message of God's kingdom or the reign of God that is to be expressed throughout all the world, that is something that Jesus came and preached. The message is more than any other message, in my opinion, was about God's kingdoms. But I think that the heart of this issue that everything tied to was what God envisions for the world, which is a kingdom that comes now, but it also will come in time as well. So the now of that kingdom is an expression where people are kind of living out the reality of what Jesus taught us. The now of that kingdom is creating communities of peace or shalom, to use a good biblical Hebrew word. And for those realities of shalom and peace and justice and love to be expressed throughout all of the world.